Yo, Sanjay Uchiha here, people. Well, going, bringing you my review on Dragon Ball Super Episode 92. And as you can see from the thumbnail there, people, it doesn't lie. This episode marks the iconic appearance of the first female Super Saiyan in the Dragon Ball well, not the franchise, because we've had female Super Saiyans appear in Xenoverse and all of that, but I'm talking in the main storyline of Dragon Ball, which is a pretty iconic thing to happen because we've wanted female Super Saiyans for like what, I don't know, over 20 years, if you really count when the Goku first transformed into a Super Saiyan, I suppose. So there's that for you. That's food for thought. But anyway, let's get into it. This episode of Super it was pretty good, I must say. But as with anything else Super related, there are some uh, flaws, or well, probably this is kind of subjective. So I'd say there's some problems in my opinion. But let's get into it. So we start off the episode with, well, continuing off where we left off last time, where we find out that Majin Buu has fallen asleep. So we see Goku go over there and kind of get more information on what's going on. And we find out that Hercules basically tried everything to wake him up, from food to loud music, the works essentially. And one thing that was really good about this episode, and it actually happened, there are two events which were of a similar nature, which I especially loved about this episode. And it's basically like when and you realize there's a problem with an anime, and the in-universe characters themselves kind of they make mention of it or realize it, and it kind of feels like the writers themselves are taking a jab at themselves. And this was the first instance here in the beginning of the episode, because we know back from original Dragon Ball Z slash its manga equivalent that Majin Buu doesn't really need a lot of sleep. He could literally sleep for like a few seconds and he'd be good. And we've seen this happen in the manga and the anime. So Hercule makes mention of this. So I this was actually it was a good point for them to, it just really shows that they're drawing back from old material and staying in continuity, I suppose. So that was good to see. So what was also good about this episode, and I mentioned it with last week's episode, getting to see what's going on with the other universes. That is always good to see. In terms of the format of this episode and last week's episode, I really wanted or wish even the previous episodes before that were just like this, really and truly. Because I mean, Goku recruiting the others were alright and all, but I think when we're jumping from universe to universe and seeing what's going on there, get introduced to new characters, which we did get in this episode with Universe 3, I feel it gives the episode a more interesting dynamic. It feels like the scope of the tournament is broader. Essentially, it doesn't feel isolated to Universe 7 and gives us a chance to really get more connected with other universes, even though we know our own team here is really Universe 7, but it really just adds to the flair of the episode, and it accomplished that with this episode, of course. um and it was interesting seeing the God of Destruction in Universe 3, making, since he's a robot, which is interesting, and we get to find out that all the Universe 3 fighters will be basically cyborgs slash androids, robots, which will be an interesting thing. So that was kind of cool to see there. Of course, we got a shot of Vegeta powering up in the hyperbolic time chamber. There was that. And we get to the main conflict of this episode, and it's basically the Universe 7 members finding out that they're not entering the tournament for money. Money isn't the prize. They find out that the universes will be destroyed if they lose. So that was really the main point of conflict in this episode, honestly. And I kind of like how the characters were portrayed in terms of how they reacted, especially Krillin. But it kind of felt it was necessary, and I think they were characterized well because Android 18 wasn't gonna join anymore because there was no prize money. Krillin was upset because Goku lied to him and all of that, and we get this funny scene of him saying, he wouldn't have entered if he knew that before, and we get this funny scene of Beerus threatening him to enter, which was cool. But we get to the meat of the matter for this episode, what everybody's been dying to see, the main meat, the bad bitch herself, Khalifa. I must say, like the art here was, I think it was pretty well done for the scene in Universe 6 with Khalifa and Kaba and Kale. So we have Kaba basically teaching Khalifa how to transform into a Super Saiyan, and this is where my problems with the episode kind of comes in, and it's kind of like this 50-50 kind of thing, which you could probably make a decent argument for why certain things happen in this particular scene, and the next 50% you could say, this is straight up bullshit based on information and things you've seen prior in Dragon Ball up to this point. So basically, Kaba is teaching Khalifa how to transform to a Super Saiyan in preparation for the Tournament of Power, of course. Kaba goes on to try and attempt the same tactic that Vegeta did basically, where he insulted him and tried to make him angry to draw from his the power of anger so he can transform into a Super Saiyan, and he tries to do this with Khalifa, but it's apparent that it's not in his character, it's not in his nature to really insult um others who like that. And since Khalifa is such, she has this dominating presence about her, like Kaba can't fully go through with it. So that was kind of fun to see. It's an interesting dynamic there in Universe 6, I must say. Um it's interesting to note, and it's the first time we're even ever getting this in the series, but Kaba describes the feeling of transforming into a Super Saiyan. Like the method he conveys to Khalifa is that he channels the power at a certain part in his back, which was kind of weird to me. And then he's like, he tells Khalifa that she tries it, and I mean, she's never tried that before, and then she starts to transform, and I'm like, what? What? And then like she basically tries it again, and boom, we have our first female Super Saiyan. I'm like, there's something wrong here. Like, it felt like, I know the initial Super Saiyan transformation has been watered down in terms of how easy it is to obtain, really and truly. And this is the 50% I'm talking about, where I really describe it as bullshit based on prior knowledge, or my knowledge of the universe, Seven Saiyans and their experiences. Is that I know it was watered down, and then Goten and Trunks made it look extremely easy, but it would just seem ridiculous how easily Khalifa achieved it, really and truly. Like, I don't know. I mean, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Let me know what you thought about that. Do you think it was bullshit that she got it so easily? Like, it just feels like Kaba could literally just go to every Saiyan and say, hey, just challenge your power like that. Boom, we have an army of Super Saiyans, easy. But um I'm gonna get back to this in terms of why argument could probably be made for it. But moving on. What was definitely good about this scene as well is the music in this scene after Khalifa transforms into a Super Saiyan. The music was pretty good. It was the first we're getting whatever track that was right there, but kudos to the composer. That was a great job. It really added to the epicness of that scene, despite whatever problems I may have had with it. Of course, we get to see her channel her energy, fire a ki blast up into the air, which was pretty cool. And after that, Kaba tells her how to deactivate it, so that was pretty interesting too. After that, we find out that Kale is actually Khalifa's protege, so she wants Kale to basically replicate what she just did. So I'm guessing this is where we're gonna get, female Broly, like. Ugh. But after this, we go back to Universe 7, really and truly, and we're trying to find another member. And this is the second. At this point, what I mentioned in the beginning of the review, where I said there were two instances of an event that really added to the quality of the episode, where, as I mentioned, where it feels like the writers are taking a jab at themselves. And I'm sure a lot of people have said this already, and that's why is it that all members of the Universe 7 team have to be from Earth? Why are they all on Earth? The universe is vast. And it was kind of cool seeing Beerus make mention of this, honestly. I feel like when a series or the writers take jabs at themselves, it kind of adds quality to the episode in a sense, in some weird way, if you know what I mean. It kind of adds to the entertainment value, honestly. So there was that. So Beerus made mention of that, and he makes mention like this only happened because they destroyed the Freeza force. And that's when Goku has a brilliant idea to recruit Freeza, and everybody's like freaking out, and that's where your episode ends. Honestly, I think this was also one of the better episodes in this arc so far, like pre-tournament, but in this little recruitment mini arc before the actual tournament of power. The dynamic of the episode was pretty well executed. As I mentioned, jumping from universe to universe, giving each of them adequate screen time definitely adds to the dynamic and flair of the episode. So definitely one of the better episodes of this arc. I only wish that we'd be getting episodes that are of this format like earlier on during when Goku was recruiting everybody, honestly. But whatever. So I think I might do a video on the Universe 6 Saiyans probably later today or tomorrow, so you can probably look out for that. I think I'll save my discussion or reasons for why Khalifa's transformation. Well, I'll talk more about it, but I couldn't make a little mention of it here. In that we have some points to take note of is that the Universe 6 Saiyans, they evolve differently. They evolve to have no tails. So that's one thing to factor into why they could have such potential, because it's heavily implied. Even though we know that from a writing standpoint, these characters are being power scaled up for the tournament, it's still interesting to note that they have such potential. So I think I'll save my remaining points for why Khalifa's transformation to Super Saiyan becoming Super Saiyan that easily for that video, honestly. And even based on the preview, I'll take the preview for next week's episode into consideration when I'm even discussing this, because based on the preview, it's in Khalifa even manages to achieve Super Saiyan 2 next week. So Sanjay Uchiha, rate, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you thought about this episode of Dragon Ball Super. Despite its problems, as I mentioned, I'm actually hyped. I'm excited to know that we actually have a female Super Saiyan now. It's pretty cool. And what, which character would be better than Khalifa? She's got the attitude. She's got the, I don't know. She just has this. I mean, it kind of feels like the generic badass female character, but I don't know. She has that flair to her, which I think she deserves the title of first Super Saiyan. And to boot, it's not even from our universe. So rate, comment, subscribe. Let me know your thought, comment, and I'll see you in my following videos. See you guys. See you in the next one.